Hey, what's up, guys? Out here at the salvage yard today, pulling some Mercedes steering arms for half high and high steer on the Samurais. Never seen a video on it before, so you guys that are new to this, save you a little time. I had to figure everything out, read the forums and stuff. A lot of good information out there, but maybe this will help you all a little bit identify the cars. That's one of the biggest questions you see all the time is, what model cars do they come off of? There's a whole list of them, and basically the easiest way I found to identify which Mercedes cars to pull the right steering arm off of is you want to look for the older cars. There's a couple in the early 90s, but most of them are going to be late 70s, early 80s. Easiest way to identify the steering arm is look for the Mercedes that have kind of a small shock on them instead of a larger strut, and I'll attach a picture of the newer versions that have the larger strut tube, and that's really the quickest way to identify it. And then once you know what the arm looks like, it's pretty easy. Let's see if I can. There's the steering arm. For the half-high steer, you want to pull the driver's side steering arm off the Mercedes, and you're going to flip it over and put it on the passenger side. If you're going to be out here and you're pulling these and both arms are there, they're cheap enough that you might as well just go ahead and get the both sides. That way, if you ever decide later on that you want to do a whole high or a high steer setup instead of just a half high, you got the arm already. So couple quick tips here on what I found works best. The tools you're going to need is a 13mm wrench, 17mm wrench, 19mm wrench, and matching sockets. And of course a cordless impact, really cuts down a lot of work too. Then you'll also need a dead blow hammer, maybe just a good little mini sledge, and trying to think if there's anything else that you could use, maybe a pipe wrench or something like that. So the easiest way I found to do it is, first thing you want to do is remove your tie rod end nut here. That's a 17, and I've just been, pardon my camera work here, I'm trying to do all this while I'm taking it off. I'm out here by myself, and so I usually just break it loose, then take my cordless impact, make short work of it. And then the easiest thing to do is just, while you've still got it on the car and before everything's knocked loose, I like to go ahead and knock that nut out. I'm going to pause while I do that so I can use both hands. Okay, that one was a little stubborn just because the angle, kind of a tight fit in here, and the way the salvage yard has their cars propped up didn't give me a whole lot of room. So the good thing about doing that is you got that tie rod end knocked out. Now you can freely turn the caliper there, and that gives you easy access to the two holding it on. So same thing as before, I'll loosen them up. Usually, a little foot pressure or a dead blow or something just to knock them loose. And then once they're broke loose, I'll use my impact on them. So I'm going to pause while I do that. Alright, there we go. Got it off. Driver's side Mercedes steering arm for a half-high conversion on Suzuki Samurai. I mentioned a while ago that one of the wrenches and socket set combinations you might need is a 13mm. I didn't explain that a while ago. The reason for that is, say if you, let's see if this shows up here. Say if you get a tie rod in that's you can't get to with a hammer, it's stubborn to get out, you got to take it back and put it in the press or something, which is the case probably about a third of the time. Like this one here I had to do. Use that 13mm on the tie rod end keepers, and then you can take your pipe wrench and just unthread the tie rod end, and then you just fold it up, throw that in your little salvage yard bag, and then put it in the press when you get back to the house.